Okay, good morning everyone. Chazak, Baruch, thank you for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday morning as we are studying together Perashat Devarim. And of course our Perashat, like we mentioned yesterday, it begins with the word Ele. Ele has the numerical value of 36. And these are the 36 days at the end of Moshe's life, from Rosh Chodesh Shevat till Zayin Adar, his death day, where he's going to be giving a 36-day crash course on history to the Jewish people, telling them of all the lessons that they learned over the last 40 years in their journey through the desert. And our Parashat tells us that he starts telling them about their conquest of the eastern side of the Jordan. And so when the 40 years started coming to an end, they started traveling northward and they started wiping out nation after nation. And they started going. They get to Edom. All of a sudden, God says, don't fight Edom. Why not? Because Edom is your cousin. Edom comes from Esav. Don't bother Edom. Okay, we won't bother Edom. They go to Edom. Can we pass through your country to get into Israel? Edom says, no. Don't you dare come through. All right. No foul play. No harm. We're going. And they turn around. And they continue going north all the way, the long way around Edom. Then they get to a nation by the name of Moab. So if you have a Chumash, let's open it up. Let's go to chapter 2 of our Parashah. Vanefin, we turned around, we went the long way, and we start going into the territory of Moab. Okay? Vayomer Adonai Elai, says Moshe, God said to me, Al tatzar et Moab, ve'al tedgar ba milchama. Don't start waging war against Moab. Leave them alone. You're not going to inherit the land of Moab because I'm giving it to Lot. Unbelievable. So we're not allowed to fight Edom. We're not allowed to fight Lot. So that includes Moab. That includes Ammon. Now, why did Moshe think he had the right to fight with Moab? So Moshe made a kal vachomer. You know what's a kal vachomer? A kal vachomer means if A is true, then for sure B should be true. So as an example, if you could throw a ball 50 feet, for sure you could throw a ball 5 feet. Right? Kal vachomer, obviously. So Moshe made the following kal vachomer. Moshe said, if we were commanded to attack Midian, now pay attention to the names because the names get confusing. They all have a mem. If we were allowed to attack Midian, remember, God said to Moshe, Tzerora ta Midianim, fight Midian because of what they did to you. They sent the women and they made you sin and thousands of Jews died. So wipe out Midian. When we went to war with Elazar against Midian. So Moshe said, Kal vachomer, if I have to fight Midian, who was only helping Moab, obviously I should fight Moab. So God has to come and now say to Moshe, no. You're not going to fight Moab. Don't wage war against them. You are not to inherit this land of Moab. I'm giving it as a reward to Lot. What reward? Not only this land of Moab, even the land of Ammon. So Moab and Ammon, two descendants of Lot. Right? Where does Moab and Ammon come from? They come from Lot. Remember Lot? When he escaped from Sin City, from Sodom, so his daughters slept with him, each one a different night, and they bore a child. And each one named the child, one Moab, one of them named them Ammon, and that's where these two nations come from. So God says, I'm rewarding these two nations, Moab and Ammon, because of their great-great-great-grandpa, Lot. Because of what Lot did, they're going to receive inheritance in Israel territory. The east side of the Jordan is part of the 10 nations. They're going to keep a land over there. What did Lot do? That he deserves to be rewarded? Says our rabbis, remember when Abraham escaped to Mizrahi, to Egypt, because of a famine? And he told everyone that Sarah was his sister? So our rabbis tell us, in the merit of the shtika, because of Lot's silence, because Lot was quiet and he didn't say the truth. He could have said, oh, what do you mean she's a sister? No, she's not. He's their husband and wife. And Lot would have maybe gotten rewarded financially for saying the truth. You say the truth, now you give, the king is going to be able to marry her. Now your wife Sarah is in the castle. Your sister Sarah is in the castle. Lot would have been set for life. But Lot didn't say anything. And because of his silence, he was rewarded that his descendants shouldn't be bothered by the Jewish people. They should remain untouched. So God says to Moshe, don't fight Moab and don't fight Ammon. Says the Chafetz Chaim, what a powerful lesson that we learn. Usually in life, we're rewarded for doing something good. If I help somebody, then I get thanked. If someone does a heroic act, self-sacrifice, then they get a medal of honor. No one usually gets rewarded for being passive. You don't usually get rewarded for not doing the wrong thing. Imagine you come to a president, you come to the judge and you say, listen, I would like a medal, I want to be recognized. Okay, what'd you do? I was about to kill people and I didn't. And so I want to be rewarded. You put the guy in jail, you send him to a mental asylum. What are you talking about? You want to be rewarded for not killing people? Right? You don't get rewarded for not doing something. Says the Chafetz Chaim, but there's one exception. When a person wants to say something and doesn't, but biting their tongue, for staying silent, there's a tremendous reward waiting for such a person. We know this to be true, and our literature is filled with examples of people who didn't say something and they were rewarded. The pasuk says, and he quotes this pasuk, Tole eretz al belima. Our rabbis say that this pasuk is telling us that the whole eretz, the whole world exists for almi, for the person shebolem piv b'shat meriva, who bites his tongue, who shuts his mouth in the heat of an argument. A lot of times we're arguing with somebody and they say something and we have an answer to say back. Somebody makes fun of us. It could be jokingly or it could be seriously. It could be in a friend group. It could be in a synagogue. It could be at work. It doesn't matter where. It could be a spouse. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be an enemy. Throughout our day, there are people that sometimes make comments that trigger, they strike a chord. They hurt us. They say something that's offensive. And we have a response. We could say something back. And the Gemara says, but the person who doesn't say something back, the person who bites their tongue, who is bolem piv, I could say, but I'm not going to. Gemara says this person has the keys to keep the entire creation in existence just for their sake. You know why that's true, by the way? Why is it so powerful to stay quiet? Again, Lot stayed quiet, and look how he was rewarded. You know why it's so powerful to stay quiet? The Chafetz Chaim says, because it's midah keneged midah, measure for measure. In Shamayim, there's a lot of brachot that Hashem wants to send our way. He wants to send children, He wants to send parnasah, He wants to send zivugim, shidduch, He wants to send health, He wants to send shalom, a lot of blessings, honor, a lot of things coming our way. The problem is? The problem is that we have averot that we do that create a blockade, that they prevent the blessings from coming. Every sin we do creates an angel, a negative angel, a prosecuting angel that's there testifying against us. And as God's ready to send bracha, the angel goes and says, wait, God, you're going to give this person X, Y, and Z? Look at me. They created me from their sin. They don't deserve. Look at what they're doing. They're eating not kosher, they're not keeping Shabbat, they're not loyal, they're not praying properly, they're not saying brachot properly, they're not looking where they're supposed to, they're not thinking how they're supposed to, they're not learning, they're not using their time, they're not using their money. The angels have a lot against us. Really, we've said this so many times, if we're going to come to God and try to play the fair card, God, I deserve, we're going to lose that. We're going to lose that argument 10 out of 10 times. Fair, we have no shot. We don't deserve anything. The only reason we'll ever get bracha in our lives, says the Chafetz Chaim, is if you're able to shut those angels' mouths up. If you could get them to shut their mouths, then, so you know what happens, says the Chafetz Chaim? When a person in this world has what to say, when I could say something, I could answer back. I want to tell you to your face. You want to call me out, I can call you out. When I can say, and I choose not to, midah keneged midah, the angels in the heavens that have what to say, God says, I don't want to hear it. If he kept his mouth shut, you keep your mouth shut. But what do you mean, God? I have what to say. So did he. But he didn't. He held it in. You hold it in. I don't want to hear it. Go home. Go play golf. I'm going to give this man beracha. I'm going to give this man blessings. I'm going to give this lady all the things that she's praying for. Because if they could stay quiet, then you, angel, you must stay quiet. I don't want to have to hear any of your accusations. So this is why it's so beneficial, my friends, in life, to be what we call in Hebrew mevater, foregoing. Person in the middle of an argument, person is told something, and we could say back, we could send out a text, badmouth me, I'm going to badmouth you. You want to spread stuff about me, I'm going to spread stuff about you. And the truth is, you're entitled to do that. You could defend yourself if you want to. You want to play by the rules? Play by the rules, go ahead. But just know, says the Chafetz Chaim, that in the heavens they're also going to play by the rules. And the rules are never in our favor. Right? May the odds be forever in your favor. The odds are never in your favor. They're never gonna, if we play by the rules, we're done. They have so much garbage against us. All the averot that we do. So we need to get a way to go above the rules. To do more than what we deserve. The only way to trigger that is by starting it down here. When down here, I could help someone. When down here, I could stay quiet. Lot stays quiet, and he's rewarded hundreds of years later. Not only is he rewarded, but we even find between his own descendants, Moab and Ammon, those two daughters, even within those two nations, there's a discrepancy of how we were to reward them. We know when it came to Moab, God said, don't fight them. But when it came to Ammon, God said, don't even provoke them. Meaning, when it came to Ammon, we weren't allowed to fight them, we weren't allowed to provoke them, we weren't allowed to do anything. When it came to Moab, by Moab, God said, don't fight them, but you're allowed to provoke them. If you want, you could come with a sword. It's a bluff, but they don't know it's a bluff. And the truth is, the people did this. They used this to their advantage. That's why the Pasuk says that in Parashat Balak, if you open the Chumash, go back for a minute. Remember Balak, he hired Bilam to curse the Jewish people? Why did he hire Bilam to curse? Why did he hire someone? Because he was scared. What made him scared? What made him scared, the Pasuk says in the beginning of Balak, Vayagor Moab v'pnei ha'am. Moab was very afraid of the people. You know why Moab was afraid of us? Because we provoked them. We showed them a sword. Again, it was all a bluff. We were never going to actually use it. But we started taking their spoils, plundering. We started taking money. And therefore, Moab got scared. Maybe they're going to take it to the next level of war. So you find over here that even when it comes to Moab, Moab was treated less fairly than Ammon, with less favoritism. By Ammon, don't touch them, don't fight, don't look at them. By Moab, you're allowed to entice, you're allowed to taunt, but just don't fight. Why is this difference true? Why is it that when it came to Moab, we were given a little bit more freedom? When it came to Ammon, we were given a little bit more restrictions? The answer is, our rabbis again come along and say, because of the merit of the speech. You see, when the daughter of Lot bore a child from her dad, the first one named him Moab. What does Moab mean? Moab means Me'av, from dad. Me'av, from dad. So the first one called him Me'av. The second one called him Ammon. What does Ammon mean? Ammon is Ben Ami, the son of my nation. The second one was a little bit more private, Tsanua, in how she went about naming her child. The first one was very explicit. He's from my dad, Moav. The second one, a little bit more discreet, a little bit more private, a little bit more modest. The son of my nation. Now everyone knows it's from your father. But still, she was modest in how she spoke. And again, because of that one tiny difference, God says, hundreds of years later, don't touch Ammon. Don't even look at them. Because of the zechut, because of the merit of their speech. My friends, we learned today the sound of silence. We learned today how powerful silence can be. Silence is very loud. Again, usually in life, if you want to get rewarded, you have to do something. You have to act with loud actions that show I'm kind, I'm giving, I do, I help. But Chafetz Chaim says, silence is very loud as well. And silent, being quiet, pahot milah, one less word, monat meribah, could stay away, keep away many, many fights. Therefore, today, let us challenge ourselves. Next time we see somebody, next time someone wants to say something to us and they hurt us, we want to say something back. We can. But just remember what the cost is. Remember, what are you going to gain by answering back? And how much will you gain if you don't answer back? You answer back in the moment, you gave a good answer. Maybe some people will even laugh at your joke that you gave back, that you spit back at them. But just think of how much more you're losing. It's an amazing story that we've said before, but it's worth repeating. The story about a couple that came to Rav Chaim Kanievsky. This couple was barren for many years, and the rabbi gave him a bracha for children. Of course, a few years later, the bracha proved to be unsuccessful. They came back to the rabbi. Rabbi, maybe you could give us another bracha. It didn't work. The rabbi said, it looks like my brachot don't work. Go to someone else. He said, what do you mean, Rabbi? You got to give us a bracha. You're the biggest rabbi around. We want your bracha. We don't want anyone else's. Rabbi said, listen, clearly the gates of heaven are locked. Clearly they're not giving you a child and brachot are not working. The only advice I could give you is what the Gemara says. The Gemara says that if a person is insulted publicly, if a person is hurt, if a person is slighted, and they want to respond and they don't, they have the power to give blessings more than the biggest rabbi. So if you could find such a person that was hurt, if you could find anyone that falls into this category, get a blessing from them. Their blessing, much better than my blessing, could maybe give you and your husband a child. Well, the couple left and they are now on a search, they are on a hunt, searching for this person that's going to be embarrassed, that they're going to be able to get a bracha from. Maybe someone will embarrass them. Of course, the weeks go by, nobody embarrassed them, everyone was extra kind to them, until one day they were at a neighbor's wedding. And as the lady is sitting there with the mother of the bride at her own daughter's wedding, they're sitting there, they're having a good time, and all of a sudden in the middle of the wedding, this older lady walks in and she starts yelling and embarrassing the mother of the bride. And she starts saying, how dare you not invite me, and you're so rude, and you're so, if people only knew the truth that goes on in your house, the chatan would never agree to marry your daughter. And she starts going on and she's roasting, embarrassing this lady at her own daughter's wedding. And this lady is about to get up and to defend herself. And all of a sudden she feels someone grab her hand. And she looks down and she sees it's this barren lady. And all this lady is doing is going like this. Shh, don't say anything. Shh, shh, shh. She's like, what do you mean, shh? This lady's embarrassing me. She's like, please, just trust me. Don't say anything. I promise I'll explain in a minute. Just don't say. She's like, what do you mean don't say? She's publicly, don't say, please. Okay, I won't say. She sits down. The lady, of course, is shooed away. And finally she turns, she's like, I don't understand. What was that all about? She said, listen, you know how much me and my husband were trying to have a child? We went to Rav Chaim Kanievsky years ago for a bracha. It didn't work. We went to him again recently. And he said to us, The gates of heaven are locked, are closed for our children. The only way to unlock them is to get a bracha from somebody who was bolem piv, who closed their mouth. A person who was able to say and didn't, they now have the power to give brachot. So please, you are such a person. Please bless us. She's like, me? What am I going to do? I'm not. She's like, I know you're not a rabbi, but this is what Rav Chaim Kanievsky said. So could you please give us a blessing? So she put her hands on her head and she said, I give you a bracha from the bottom of my heart in the merit that I was quiet and I was mevater and I forgoed. Hashem should bless you. Of course, a year later, this lady, after decades, was blessed with a baby boy. So this, my friends, shows us the power, again, of just staying quiet. Just don't say anything. I know it's difficult. I know we want to say. I know in the moment we're going to forget what we're learning here. It's nice in this class. It sounds nice. People are inspired. But in 10 minutes, when you're back in the world, you're gonna get tested. That guy's gonna say something, and the instinct, it's a reflex. When you're banging the funny bone, your knee pops up. Someone boos you, you flinch. The reflex when someone says something is to say back. It could be a spouse, it could be a family member, it could be an in-law, it could be a child, it could be a parent, it could be a friend, it could be your boss. Throughout our day, there are constantly people that are shooting comments at us. Says the Chafetz Chaim, remember how powerful you will be when you don't answer back. Don't answer back. There's so much more to lose when you open your mouth. When we keep our mouths shut, guess what? Then Hashem says to all of the angels, don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut. I don't want to hear it. If he could keep his mouth shut, so must you. And all of the accusations that are against us, all of the prosecuting attorneys, all of the angels that are there that want to attack, that want to hurt, that want to destroy. God says, can't hear you. What was that? I can't hear you. No. Can't talk. You can't talk because he didn't talk. Go away. Go play golf or something. And now let me hear my son. What do you need? You need children? Here you go. What do you need? Parnasa? Here you go. What do you need? Refuah? No problem. What do you want? Marriage? You got it. Shalom bayit? Sorry, no kidding. Of course, here you go. Whatever you need. Take it all. Take everything. Take all the blessings of the Torah. We should be zocher to pay attention to this lesson. Look at this. Lot, what did he do? What did he do? He didn't do anything. He did literally nothing. When he went down to Egypt, Avraham Avinu said that about Sarah, that she's my sister, and Lot just said nothing. But God says, very good. You wanted to open your mouth and maybe spill the beans, but you didn't. Look at Moab and Ammon, the second daughter. You could have spoken one way. You decided to speak with a little bit more modesty. Instead of using one word, you used a different word. Instead of saying this, you used a little bit more clean language. Clean language. Centuries later, she is rewarded. She is given extra protection, even against the Jewish people. So this is, I think, something that all of us can benefit from. Every single person has moments throughout their week, throughout their lives, that we are being embarrassed, that we are being slighted. And the Torah reminds us that the reward of just being quiet, just not saying anything, could come back to pay dividends decades later. If Benot Lot, my friends, look at the final line of here. If Benot Lot, if the daughters of Lot, Shelon itztavu al nekiyut halashon, who were not commanded to have clean mouths. They weren't commanded to have clean mouths. Goyim, they weren't commanded on this of having nivul peh. Nivul peh is a Jewish thing. By the way, there's an amazing Be'er Yosef I saw. Remember the story that we saw yesterday of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa? And the guy wanted to rat out on the Jews because he was kicked out of the party and the rabbis didn't say anything. So what did he do? He went to the Caesar and he said, listen, Caesar, the Jews want to kill you. The Jews, they don't have allegiance to you anymore. And the Caesar said, really? How do you know? He says, look, test it out. Bring an animal, see if they sacrifice it. He says, sure. He sent an animal with this guy, and this guy, Bar Kamza, he secretly makes a small cut, blemish on the eyelid, and some say on the lip. And he brings it to the Jewish people, and the Jewish people, they saw the lip, the eyelid, and it's for Goyim, a Goy, no problem for them to bring a korban. If it's blemished in those two areas, it's okay. But for us to bring a korban in those two areas is not allowed. And Ber Yosef says, what a lesson just right there. Stop the story and just pause it. Look at what we just said. For Goyim, eye, lip, it's not a blemish. The Goyim don't have a concept of what to look at. Goyim don't have a concept of how to talk. For a Jew, we do. So if the Benot Moav were forbidden, who are not commanded, if the daughters of Lot who are not commanded on speech still got rewarded for having a clean tongue, the second daughter who was a little bit cleaner than the first, she got rewarded so many centuries later. Imagine how much, says the Chafetz Chaim, Kol sheken Adam miYisrael, how much more so a Jew whose mouth is powerful, who is commanded on how to talk. And what we say is up all the way, very, very high. It's being watched and scrutinized. And how do we know that, by the way? When a Jew says one word, all of a sudden that word becomes very powerful. If a guy says, from now on, this pen is to me like pork. That's it, forbidden. Can't use the pen anymore. Guy says to a lady, Hareat mekudeshet li, will you marry me? And she says, yes. That's it. This lady is now forever locked into this person. So if a Jew whose words are powerful and his mouth is all the way up there, if a Jew watches what he says the Chafetz Chaim, just imagine how much more powerful that is. If a Goy, what they say, doesn't really matter. And still, the shkika, the silence, was able to reward her. So for sure for us, that our mouths are powerful, how much more powerful is our silence? So let us try again, especially in this week, the 9 days heading into Tisha B'Av, a time of sinat chinam, a time of hatred. Words could be so damaging. So let us make sure that we work on our silence. Your wife's going to say something soon, and you're going to want to be like, what? Me? Don't, come on. Why you gotta, I ask you one favor, and now you gotta this, that. I'm clumsy, I'm lazy. I don't know. You always lose the keys. What are you talking about? And you're going to want to say something. Don't say anything. Don't say. Bite your tongue. Someone's going to hurt you. Instead of getting angry, close your eyes and say, wow, what an opportunity. I have right now the ability to pray for whoever I want. If you know a friend that needs a shidduch, pray for them in that moment. If you know someone that needs refuah, pray for them in that moment. If you know someone that needs children, pray for them in that moment. You know someone that needs parnasah, pray for them in that moment. You yourself need parnasah, shidduch, children, refuah. Pray for yourself. Doesn't have to be someone else. For sure for yourself. When we stay quiet, when we don't answer back, is there anything greater, my friends? What a gift. Now I'm excited. Now I'm hoping someone should embarrass me. Because now if I stay quiet, right, I know I'm ready. Again, but you got to remind yourself, because again, in 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 hours, you may forget what we just learned. And reflex, someone's going to say something, you're going to answer back, oh, shoot, I forgot. Why did I say something? Right? So we have to constantly reinforce. Remind yourself, reinforce. Remind yourself, I'm going to stay quiet. I'm not going to answer back. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to bite my tongue. I'm going to take it, because I know in Shamayim, they're going to bite their tongue. They're going to stay quiet. We'll be zocheh that all the blessings, Bezat Hashem, that are ours should come straight away, coming our way to us, to our friends and family, to all the people that we hold so near and dear. Amen. We'll stop over here, everyone. Have a wonderful day, God willing. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.